The day had been long and filled with the usual demands of running the bookstore, but as the evening approached, my thoughts turned to the one part of my routine that always brought me a sense of release: the time I spent at the gym. It was a place where I could shed the weight of the day, focus on the physical, and find a semblance of balance within the intensity that always seemed to simmer beneath the surface of my emotions. After work, I made my way through the familiar streets of New Orleans. The city bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. The air was still warm, carrying with it the scents of the day: spices from the nearby restaurants, the earthy smell of the river, and the faint sweetness of blooming flowers. The city, with all its vibrancy and contradictions, had a way of feeding my soul, fueling the passionate energy that defined me. As I arrived at the gym, a wave of anticipation washed over me. The gym was a stark contrast to the world outside, a place of order and focus, where the clanging of weights and the rhythmic hum of treadmills created a symphony of effort and determination. The scent of sweat and rubber filled the air, mingling with the occasional burst of music from someone's headphones. It was a place where people came to push their limits, to test their strength, both physical and mental. I spotted Joey as soon as I walked in. She was already in the midst of her workout, her movements fluid and focused. Something was mesmerizing about the way she moved, a grace and strength that I admired deeply. Watching her, I felt a surge of pride, mixed with the ever-present undercurrent of intensity that defined my feelings for her. She had a way of bringing out the best in me, of making me want to push myself further, to be stronger in every sense of the word. As I joined her, we fell into the familiar rhythm of our routine, moving from one exercise to the next with a shared understanding. The gym was busy, filled with people of all kinds, each lost in their own world, their own pursuit of strength or health. The sounds around us, the clatter of weights, the steady pounding of feet on treadmills, faded into the background as I focused on the work at hand, on the feeling of my muscles straining, the burn that signaled I was pushing myself to the limit. There was a certain clarity that came with exercise, a way of quieting the noise in my mind, of channeling my emotions into something tangible. As I lifted weights, feeling the resistance in my arms, I thought about the discipline it took to maintain this routine, the commitment it required. My life had always been a careful balance between control and passion, and the gym was one of the places where I could bring those two elements together, where I could find strength and intensity. Joey and I moved through our workout in sync, our interactions wordless yet filled with understanding. There was a comfort in this routine, in knowing that we were both there for the same reasons: to find strength, to maintain control, to push ourselves beyond what we thought we could do. But for me, there was also something deeper, something that went beyond the physical. The gym was a place where I could confront the parts of myself that were hardest to face: the fears, the insecurities, the relentless drive to be more, to do more. As we moved to the treadmills, I found myself reflecting on the lifestyle I had built, the choices I had made that had led me to this point. My life was one of discipline, of routines carefully constructed to keep the intensity of my emotions in check. I had always been driven, always seeking to control the uncontrollable parts of myself. The gym was just one aspect of that, a place where I could direct my energy, where I could find a sense of mastery over my own body. But with Joey, things were different. She had a way of making me question that control, of showing me that there was strength and vulnerability in letting go. As we ran side by side, the rhythmic pounding of our feet on the treadmill in sync, I felt a sense of connection, a bond that went beyond the physical. She understood the drive that fueled me, the need to push myself, but she also reminded me that it was okay to let someone in, to share the load. The gym, with its mirrors and machines, its regimented order, was a place where I could see myself clearly, where I could measure my progress in tangible ways. But it was also a place where I could see the limits of that progress, where I could confront the fact that not everything could be controlled, that not every aspect of my life could be shaped by sheer will alone. As we finished our workout, the sweat cooling on our skin, I felt a sense of accomplishment, but also a lingering sense of unease. The gym had always been a place where I could find strength, but it was also a place where I was reminded of the limitations of that strength, of the things that lay beyond my control. Joey's presence was a comfort, a reminder that I didn't have to face those limitations alone. But it also brought into sharp relief the fact that my life, my carefully constructed routines, were beginning to change. As we left the gym and parted ways, I felt a familiar pang of longing as I watched her go. We didn't live together, and while I valued the independence that arrangement afforded me, there was a part of me that craved more, that wanted to close the distance between us. But I knew that would require more than just physical proximity. It would require me to let go of some of the control I held so tightly, to allow myself to be vulnerable in ways that were still difficult for me to imagine. The drive home was quiet, the city now settling into the stillness of night. My muscles ached in a way that was both satisfying and grounding, a reminder of the work I had done, the strength I had built. But my mind was restless, filled with thoughts of Joey, of the life we were building together, and of how that life was beginning to challenge the control I had always held so dear. When I finally arrived home, the apartment was dark and quiet, a stark contrast to the energy of the gym. I showered, letting the hot water wash away the sweat and the tension of the day, but the thoughts lingered. The questions about my lifestyle, about the balance between control and passion, between independence and connection. As I settled into bed, I picked up my phone and dialed Joey's number. Hearing her voice on the other end brought a sense of calm, a reassurance that, despite the challenges, we were in this together. The conversation was brief, but it was enough to remind me of the bond we shared, of the strength we found in each other. As I hung up and turned off the light, I knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to test the limits of my strength, both physical and emotional. But for now, I allowed myself to rest, to let the intensity of the day fade into the quiet of the night. The gym, with all its order and discipline, was just one part of my life, one way I sought to control the chaos within. But Joey was becoming something more, someone who could help me find balance, who could show me that there was strength in letting go, in allowing myself to be vulnerable. And with that thought, I drifted off to sleep, the night holding me in its quiet, steady embrace.